So we're gonna kind of conduct a class 1 brake test here on this Rotem. There's no air, but we're gonna simulate there is. And we're gonna open our book. And you're also supposed to, every time we do an air test, you're supposed to have this book out and to go step by step. So here it is. Vibration is set up, set on handbrake. So if we were to start on the cab side, you notice that there's no independent brake valve, but there's an automatic brake valve. So now you would start off. You would start off with first cutting in. Here's your cut in, cut out. First is cut out, it's cut in. So if right now we're cut out, at the top you pull this pin up and you bring it back down, and that makes it cut in. But if you have the locomotive behind you and he's pushing you to your track, what you want to do first, because you'll be at suppression, you want to release it, and then you're gonna see your equalizing the white gauge equalizer reservoir, the ERQ. You're gonna see that go up to about 110. Then once you're there, you can cut it in. If you don't do that, you're probably gonna get thrown to emergency. You're gonna have this light right here, locomotive PCFs turn on. So you don't want that, because then you have to recover and waste time recovering. Then from there, you already cut in. Then you're gonna do your brake pipe leakage test. And it says, and we skip this because this is on the locomotive independent brake test. If you're in a locomotive, you do this, but because we don't have the independent, we can't accomplish that. So then you go for brake pipe leakage test. So we have to make sure our the main reservoir is fully charged, and you're both equal on the EQ and the brake pipe. So then you release it, and then you set it right before the full service right here. And you leave it there. That's gonna give you about 90 pounds, which is asking you to give at least 20 psi, not to exceed full service. So we're not exceeding full service. And right there, so then once you do that, that's when you cut it out, because it's also asked to, if you have any of the means, this feature must be cut out. With the means for maintaining brake pressure, this feature must be cut out. So then you cut it out, and then you clock it for about a minute. It says here 45 seconds to 60 seconds, and let's say they pass by, right? This is your reverser. Put it in here. Obviously, reverser. That's centered forward. When they ask you give me red zone, they say set and center. So you give yourself a full set. That's a full set, and you get your reverser from either reverse or forward, and you put it in the center. So now you set and centered. And then from there, what you do is once you got your minute going on, you're gonna have your cutout, and you're gonna release it. And once you release it, you're gonna see one gauge go up, not the other one. Your EQ is gonna go up, but your brake pipe's not gonna stay the same. And that's when you cut it in. Then your brake pipe's gonna rise along with your EQ, and it lets you know that it's separated, it's not the same. And then from there, we're gonna move on and obviously charge. To charge, this has to be centered, and it can go from this is run 0, 1, 2, 3, and it goes all the way to 8. That's it, 8's the max. And if you want to do DBI, you have to go forward, setup. That's your setup. It has to be forward or reverse, it doesn't matter. But look, if you notice, you can't go back. It locks itself into place, and then you go from minimum to all the way to maximum. Just to let you guys know. We'll show you guys later in the later exam. And then we conduct our brake pipe. That probably wasn't clear. I'll see if I could do a better one. But you will release it, and then you cut it back in. And then we'll do a graduated release. So we already done that. Then we're gonna charge. Run 3 is usually what you charge it to, and you can see your main reservoir charged up to at least past 130 or at 130, and your brake cylinder is gonna go down. It has to be down. You can't have a, if your brake cylinder here is up, that means you have service. Your brakes are being applied. So if this needle is just like it is, that means brakes are applied. If the red needle was down, that means they're released. So you see it's red here, brake cylinder. They're talking about the brake cylinder on each of the brake sets. So because you applied air, you apply brakes. If you release air, you release the brakes. And here's your brake pipe. This white gauge here is your brake pipe, and this is your brake cylinder. And then the white gauge here is your EQ. And then the red one right behind it, you can't see it, that's your main res. That's telling you what the tanks are. The main reservoir tanks, what's the PSI level at. And usually when you release, they go from the 130 probably up to 120, around from 110 to 130. That's about what you see them release to. So now we're gonna do a graduated release test. So now we go done with a brake pipe. You go to full service, and then from there you're gonna see a service set, and from full service you do 3 increments down, just a little bit like that, and then you're gonna see your brake pipe just drop a little, not too much, and then you're gonna keep doing it. Count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, release it again. Do that one more time. Do that about 3 times. Release it again. Count 3 times. Release it again, count 3 times, and then you go all the way to release. To ensure that when you reach release, the EQ and the BP are at 110 and the brake cylinder is at 0. So let's say if you were to do that and you have this on your gauge, that's something's wrong. Something's not correct. And then from there you go to desired emergency test. So from a desired emergency test, you have to have a full release. You have to have a full release right here, and this is a minimum. This is a full release, full service, suppression, and then you have handle off, and then you have emergency. And this is free cutout. And once again, you don't have an independent. So then from there you release it and you go to run 3. Then you can see your main reservoir go up, and then from there, once you see the main reservoir be at the right spot, you go to minimum service, which is there. It's just a pop. Sometimes you can hear it, like, that's it. And then you can see a little bit of your brake cylinder rise up, probably at 10 or below 10 or 5 psi. Once you see that, that's when you go to plug it. This is what plug it means. When you can be here full service or not, and you just go straight down to emergency. So from release to minimum, once you get your minimum, plug it. That's called plugging it. And then you're gonna see your brake cylinder go up, your brake pipe your brake cylinder go up, and then your brake pipe extremely quickly go down almost immediately. And you're also gonna see that your EQ is gonna slowly, gradually go down. Not a quick or not fast, just slowly. And then from there, you're gonna have your locomotive PCS light go off, and that's normal because that's, you went to penalty. And then from there, you have to have this at 0 to recover. This is how you recover. You put it at 0, your throttle, and then you put your automatic brake valve or handle off. Right now, you're emergency, so you go handle off. That's handle off, just one step up. And then you have to wait, and then you're gonna recover. And then you're gonna see, as soon as your EQ goes all the way down, you're gonna hear like a poppy noise, like towards the bottom, and it lets you know that you recovered. So let's say your penalty is not recovering, just go back to emergency and pull back to handle off, and just wait till the light gets cleared. And then from there, you're already recovered. And then you go back to release and you charge it again because you just dumped a whole lot of air in emergency. So let's say we're charged again. Then you go break into emergency. So move throttle to run 3. We're already at run 3. And it says activate conductor emergency brake valve. Conductor emergency brake valve is right behind you. Right here. This valve right here. And emergency brake valve. So all you do is just pull it down and bring it back up. Pull down. Let the air piss out, and then you bring it back up, and that's it. And then same thing happens. This is gonna drop right immediately, but because you're released, your EQ reservoir is gonna still be at 110 or around there. And then from there, you go straight to your emergency, where you plug it once again. And this is going to be down. This is going to be at service because now you have brakes. And then your EQ is going to slowly rise down. So then once you are that, you're going to have a locomotive PCS penalty up. So then you just recover. And remember, you're at run 3. So you want that back to 0 to recover. So now we're done with that. You PTS departure test. That's all done by this computer right here. You type in your employee ID. You put your PIN. And you also put your the railroad you work for, so R will be whatever it is. And then from there, that's your PTC. You make sure you have main res and everything's at 110, and you have run 3 too. And this is where you go check the seals down there, and you make sure everything, all the seals are there. And step by step, I'll tell you what to pick. And then from there, once you activate it, brakes successfully test complete, you run audible test. So there's going to be a button here that tells you run audible test. You press it, and you hit 3 beeps. And then that's letting you know you pass it. And then from there, you go dynamic interlock brake. So then you're going to be done with the PTC, and you have to recover. How do you recover? Go back to release. Well, you're going to be at release. And this is going to be at run 3. So if the test is done successfully to recover, you put this back at 0. And we're talking about PTC. And then from there, you got your release, you put it to suppression. And PTC usually takes a while until the light goes off, your hip hiss, and then that means it's off. And then from there, you go to make sure you made it full charge, so you release it. Go to run 3. And then have a full charge. Once you have a full charge, you're going to apply them. And then that's when you do your setup. You're forward or reverse, it don't matter. And from there, you tug your throttle to the right. See that? Like that. Just like that. And then you go from low to extreme. Dynamic brake interlock. That's what DBI is. And you're not going to see here, but in a locomotive, your brake cylinder is going to go drop all the way down on your locomotive. You're not going to see that here. And then once your other teammate and the locomotive side tells you, hey, it's all good, then you're gonna plug this, go into emergency. And if you're in a locomotive, now once you plug this, your brake pipe's gonna go all the way up, and then you're gonna go to the independent bar and do the bail off feature. With the bail off feature, when you press it to the right, it's kind of like this. Pressing it this way on independent, you're going to bail off the brake cylinder, and your brake cylinder is going to go drop down, and it's going to come back up. You drop it down, count 5 seconds, and then release it and come back up. And it completes a successful DBI. And once again, to recover, you want to go back. See how if I go like that, back forward, you have to pull back and then go like that. And you're back at 0. Set this at center, and then handle off. Wait till you clear your penalty. And then you release it and you charge back again. You always want to release and charge after you're done with a test, so you can recover your main reservoir. And then you're going to do your TMS alert test. And right there, you're just recovering, and your TMS button's right here. So if you're not doing anything, this button resets the audible noise and lets you know, hey, are you still awake? Are you still alive? Are you still able to do things? And this is the button you press to reset that. Also, you can reset it with the ATS. You can reset it moving the throttle up and down. You could stop it if you apply a service or not, a service of brakes or not. So right there, you let it charge, and then once it's fully charged, about 3 times, about 3 of these TMS's resets, you're gonna hear a beep go off, and it's right here. Here's a TMS. These lights are gonna activate. 1, 2, and it's just gonna go, and all of a sudden you're gonna hear a beep. So once you hear that beep, you just reset it through here. And then from there, it says ensure auxiliary reservoirs are fully charged to ensure proper penalty. Move throttle to run 3 and release the brakes. Release the brakes, and this is at run 3. And then you just let it go. Don't reset the TMS. Just let it go. It's gonna have a service like that. Service of brakes like that, and then to recover, same thing. Move this forward. There's no step really. Move this forward to 0, then put this as suppression, And you can do this ahead of time or before, it don't matter. And you reset that. And that resets the TMS. For your automatic train stop, once again, you're going to be having first set. And you're going to have to release this. And then it'll run 3 to charge. And then go to the ATS box and push and release the 90 ohms button. I'll show you that, guys, right now. So you go over there, release it, and you want to kind of make this quick because your TMS is going to go off. So as soon as before you leave, you reset it, or you can reset the Ats acknowledgement. And this is part of our next test. You reset that, and you want to walk back down. And you will open these doors right here. I don't have the keys for them. You open the doors, and then there's buttons in there that you press, that you activate, and you come back up here, and that's going to give you the 60, 90 ohms buttons. It's going to give you, like, if you're passing through an ATS sensor, and it says right here the 90 and 60s. Alarm should not react. The 60 alarm visual should react. That's going to give you an antenna ATS, like if you pass it through an antenna. So it's going to go off, and then if you want to reset it, same thing. Put this at 0. Suppression, and this one you press Ats acknowledge, and you go down in the box where you press near where you press 9060, there's a reset button, and you click that, and then from there it's the same thing. It's kind of like you're doing a test all over, except for the last one. The last one is the acknowledge button reset test. So that one, when you're all recovered and everything, you have to release your brakes, charging, you have your air, you hold this button down for about 6 to 8 seconds, and if the ATS goes off around that time frame, then you have a good ATS, and you have service fit. And you do the same thing. You're gonna go to suppression. You're already at 0, and you're gonna go down in the box around where the 6090's at, and reset the box. And then the door circuit verification test. So we already know we just got done with our ATS, so we know we have a full service. So there's no need for us to release, charge, and redo it again. That'll be a waste of time. So then you will go to these buttons right here, the on and off fuel pump, on and off generator field, setup on and off. And when you're testing the air on the cab car, you want this on. This is the cab car setup. Engine has to be on. Fuel pump obviously has to be on. Gen fuel, leave it off. This will make your locomotive move, and you don't want that. But now we're doing the door load verification test. So it says right here, with the air test fluid applied and pin on the loco, verify doors open and red lights illuminate on the side of the cars. So you're gonna use your mirror, and you can see if, like, around that little area right there. Oh, my finger got in the way. You're gonna see red lights all through the train set straight down. That's if your track is straight. If it's not curved, you're gonna see like part of it. And then from there, you do doors open and red lights are illuminated. Press it. So once again, you can put this reverse or forward, and you go to run 1. And then you're gonna look at your amp meter right here. If you see this thing move just a tiny bit, that's normal. But if you see it moving like that, and your doors are open, that's a big no-no. That's already failing the test. And you can check your doors if they're closed or not through here. If it's lights on, the doors are closed. If the light's off, then the doors are open. So as the door open, you shouldn't see a low, because you don't want to be moving with the doors open. Somebody might be getting on, stuff like that. So then you would have this on to actually do that, and then you ask for green. So now you know that test passed because that did a load. So then there's no recovery on this. It doesn't throw you into penalty. Just go back to set and center. Well, you're already at set, and then you turn this off. Then you go, I'm gonna do my load. So you ask somebody that's doing interior, you go yourself, and you get greens. That means our doors are closed, and this light's gonna light up. Once you get greens, you'll come back, turn your jump field on, reverser or forward, whatever's safer, and then put your throttle on. And then if you see a load slowly start creeping, and you have a go load, as soon as you see that, just let go. Back to 0, pull this one out, and then gen field off, and then you tell your buddy, hey, I'm going to go handle off, and then cut out. So now it's his locomotive's turn to do the test. Depends who goes first or last. So that's kind of like doing the test on the cab car. Hopefully this is helpful. I know this is something new to a lot of people, and it was to me, and then you just get used to it. And let me show you around. Here's a main unit stop, attendant call, cap card on and off. We already talked about those. Aux manual flash, TMS reset, the ATS buzzer. So when we have ATS, this is where you hear the noise through. The warning buzzer, the gauge lights, rear view mirrors. So they're electronically, it's just like in your car, you can move them. Especially that one over there, you can move them like wherever you want. The attendant's call bell. This is your radio you could talk through. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It has to be working through FRA rules. Here's there's sanding. This is a bell. This is ATS. This is a horn. Here's your speedometer. The windshield wipers buttons. You can read all those lights to let you know if they're off or not. Like if there's a burnt light bulb or not. One of those lights will be on if there is. Ats Acknowledgement. So when you're doing ATS, this light will be on. The wheel slip if there's any. What else? It tells you right here how much throttle you have and the dynamic brake beam, which side is which. Up here we go to all the breakers that you have. PTC, the radio breaker. Some of them need to have seals, so make sure those seals are there. And then up here you have more seals. Cutouts for HAP, smoke detection, 0 speed, locomotive PCS, windshield heater, marker lights, number lights, 0 speed bypass, dynamic braking, brakes applied. So if brakes are applied, this light will be on. Battery control fault, main engine fault. This is for the TMS override. This is a door interlock bypass. And this is TMS. Those are the cameras there. You have 2 cameras. And your emergency, napkins, trash, the DVR system. There's nothing behind there, just a space. 3 windows. And that's about it for now, I guess. So much I can show you. Thanks for taking your time. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you got questions, just shoot me down below.